Hey guys, my name is Branko and welcome back to my NECTO Studio Series. In the previous episode we discussed optimizations that can be done inside Code Editor. Now let's talk navigation tips and tricks inside it. One note, those handy tips could potentially be well known for you guys, but bear with me for the sake of closing the Code Editor loop. There might be a slight chance you will learn one new solid thing. Let's get back to the example from the previous episode. At the moment, it is easy to realize of what type RC car object actually is. You can double click on it and you're able to reason out that this type's declaration is in the upper part of this source file. Developing a good software product is about making our code maintainable, scalable, reusable and testable. That being said, I'm going to modify this example in order to explain navigation tips inside NECTO. I will be implementing some of the programming design principles. Here comes the solid set of principles. In essence, single responsibility. Break your code into modules of one responsibility each. Open closed. Add new stuff into module into class without actually making changes to them directly, but basically extending module's behavior. List code substitution. Extend your module only when you're 100% sure this extension is in the same league as the original module. Interface segregation. Split large module into smaller ones. Do not make your clients utilize functionalities they don't actually need. Dependency inversion. Create an interface for modules in order to chat with each other. Don't chat directly. Solid, wonderful topic. You know the drill, guys. Use the Google, YouTube or read the book from the original author. I will be using just a few of those right now. Anyways, when we look at this structure, its declaration belongs to the source file, which isn't a good coding practice. It isn't solid. See what I did there? The right way is putting it in the header file and include this header file whenever needed. Okay, let's create a driver header, then move this structure declaration from main.c file into a driver header file. We are going to insert header guards because we are going to include this header file in multiple places in our project. And we do not want to get duplicated struct declarations. Let's get back to our main.c source file and include our previously created driver header file. Now, if I focus just on this source file, I am not able to determine of what type is this RC car instance anymore. Now here comes the first navigation tip, guys. By moving cursor onto RC car type and by pressing Shift F2 or right click then select Go to Declaration, I am going to be transferred into the specific file from which I will be able to determine the ingredients of this structure. By going back to the source file, which is the only one in this project, and following the solid set of principles, I'm not pleased at the way how those functions, those two methods, are just like hanging around. Because move method is basically one of the core functionalities of remote control cars, I will be placing this method into core source file. Of course, I will be needing an exact same header. Next up, display coordinates method is basically going to log data on screen. So I will be placing this method into log source file. Once again, we are going to include header file for this source file. Now let's create those two header files, core.h and log.h. Core header is going to have move method declaration, include driver header preprocessor directive, because it is necessary in order for us to get RC car structure, and the last thing, include guards, of course. Log header is going to have declaration of display coordinates method, include driver header preprocessor directive, and include guards, just like the previous core header did. Let's just include core and log headers into this main file in order for build to be successful. We can remove this include because we don't need it anymore. And finally, here comes the second navigation tip. By pressing Shift F4 or right click on some method of your interest and selecting Switch Source Header action item, you will be transferred to the exact file of this method you are interested in. Now let's check source to header transition, basically the opposite scenario. Nice. This one is going to be straightforward. Run split view vertically for documenting header files. I usually do it like this. You can invoke this split view vertically action by pressing Ctrl Shift \. The last one for today would be more of a hint. Just like VS Code has that trim trailing whitespace thing, we can enable this feature in NECTO as well. So go to File, then NECTO Preferences, then Open Save menu and choose Remove Trailing Spaces in Entire Document option. Okay, so we talked about how a developer can find the declaration of some kind of C structure within one project. We illustrated switching between source and header files and vice versa in order to get concrete info about a method, about a function. Splitting a view vertically gave us an overview of our header files, allowing for a quick commenting. We obtained a clean source code by removing trailing spaces. Okay guys, this episode was the light one. I'll be seeing you in the next one.